As always, this is brought to you by Dark Horse VA and Christina Derby Consulting. Oh yeah, and I can't use the down arrow, so I've got to use this little thing. Okay. So my name's Tina Derby, for those who don't know, and I own Christina Derby Consulting, which is based in Ocala, Florida. And here with me also is Chris Allen, who owns Dark Horse VA from Arnold, Missouri. And Chris and I both, although we have separate companies, we work very closely together, and we offer all kinds of business and marketing assistance and guidance and kind of whatever you need, from coaching to done with you to done for you options on website design, ad design and management, email campaign development, budgeting and business plan development, even pitch deck creation and assistance with capital raises from private investors. So it's kind of a really wide gamut of things that we offer. And what we don't offer, we can often go out and find people that do offer. Actually, I should mention Chris now is offering assistance with sales calls to leads, because that's actually something that what we find is once we start running like Facebook ads for clients, they start getting a lot of leads, which is wonderful, but it's really important then to call those leads and follow up with them and see about, getting them to the farm and onto a horse. And so we're also offering assistance with that as well. So anyhow, today we're going to be talking about the product and services ecosystem, which is a literal system that includes 4 different distinct levels of offerings, each of which plays a unique role in attracting, engaging, and growing a customer base. And this system is based on Daniel Priestley's ascending transaction model. And if you're not familiar with Daniel Priestley, he's very popular on YouTube. He's an extremely successful marketer and businessman. And if you get a chance to watch any of his content, I think it's time well spent, because he's very clear in the way he communicates and has lots of experience and lots of great information to share. So, okay, so the product and services ecosystem, it's a fairly simple system. It's 4 main parts to it. And it starts on the left with a gift. And the gift is the first thing that you use to let people even know that you exist, right? So assume they don't know about you. How do you get them to know about you? One of the best ways to do that is through offering them some sort of a gift. Now, what would that be? So it would be something that does not require them to give you money, doesn't even require them to give you any details. It should be beautiful. It should offer a lot of value. And again, it should be free, right? So one of the best types of gifts to give is a digital gift, because these can be extremely helpful. Educational series of emails or webinars or blog posts, things like that, that can have a lot of value for somebody, but not be expensive for you to create or to disseminate. Now with the internet, disseminating digital things is very close to zero cost. So starting with a gift, providing that to people so that they can just even know that you exist, and then start to build some trust with them. And then after that, you try to move them to a P4P, which is a product for prospects. And so we're still dealing with people that are not your customers yet. So they're just prospects, but it's like, okay, it's almost like going on a date with them, right? Like, we're not going to get married yet. We're not even going to ask you to marry us yet, because you don't know us very well yet. But this is sort of a low commitment, low short time span offer that you can make to people who have some interest and might like to, sort of put their toes in the water a little bit more. So things like, and this would be a paid, they're not expensive, they're lower price, paid workshops, clinics, mini courses, introductory riding lessons, if you sell products, or even if you don't, you can always set up a store to sell products, wholesale products, or products at a more reasonable price than what they would get at regular retail, smaller versions of a normal product. So anything like that works well as a product for prospects. And then, of course, the next thing, okay, if they like you and they're like, all right, I like my intro lesson, or I really thought that workshop was fabulous, you know, it's a $49 workshop, and they came and they spent the, you know, 2 or 3 hours at your farm, and it was excellent experience, then they might be interested now to go to your core offer, which is something that is transformative. That's the big change that they want, right? So let's say you offer lessons. Oh, they really want to learn to ride. Okay, this is what they're going to purchase to really learn to ride. Or if you offer sale horses, okay, this is what they're going to purchase a horse so that they can have the horse that they always dreamed of, that kind of thing. So that's full price. If you offer sale horse, you can't sell it on subscription. But if you offer something like lessons or trail rides, things like that, you could offer packages or subscriptions. If, let's say, it's somebody that wants to, obviously a lot of lesson programs do this. They offer subscriptions or packages, you know, buy a block of lessons. But you could even do that actually with trail rides. You know, if you've got people that want to come back, let's say once a month and have a ride, then you could offer it to them and give them some sort of a discount for coming back, let's say every month or whatever. And so that way you could actually upsell them and increase the value. And then, so after you got your core offer, you've got people involved in that, then you can have your P4C, which is product for clients. So this is sort of an upsell or an add-on that would help them have an easier time using the product or get more out of it, right? Additional value for them. So, and we're going to go over individual ideas in a second for a couple of different types of businesses, but you know, an upsell might be if the riding lesson program is going to offer a show team. That's a very common upsell. So you have to buy some additional lessons, and you get some unmounted lessons and coaching and how to go to horse shows, or actual coaching at the horse shows, that kind of thing. That would be, you know, beyond your okay, you're a riding lesson student, but now that's just sort of another step up or another way to get more value out of the whole program. So anyhow, but it's a simple as you can see, a simple 4-step system. And I think where a lot of horse businesses fall short on this, or they may accidentally do it sometimes, but they don't do it on purpose. And I think that's where they make the mistake is, you know, they really don't start out with a gift. A lot of them want to start out by like just selling the riding lesson or selling, you know, the horse or whatever. And they forget about sort of the first couple of steps, the sort of easing somebody into it piece. And so to me, that's one of the biggest changes that a farm or a horse business could make that would really help them to get more people into their ecosystem and get more potential clients in a pretty, honestly, it's fairly simple if you're doing a good job at each step, you know, and you're selling something that there's enough demand for too. That's important. So, so now we'll look at some ideas for lesson programs. And I'm sure that if we sat here together for long enough, we could brainstorm 1,000 more. This is just sort of tip of the iceberg stuff. But this just hopefully is, yeah, kind of helps get people's wheels turning in their heads. So for riding lesson programs, the free gift could include things like a free on-site farm tour and come to meet the horses, a virtual barn tour. So that would be a video tour of the facility, and you could have quick interviews with riding students, instructors, parents, etc. Those are always very powerful, having this sort of, you know, testimonials and discussions with people who are actually customers. Introductory workshop. We've had clients do this, a 30-minute session on horse care, grooming, safety, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit different than a barn tour because they actually get to like do things and you get a chance to work with them, but it's not a huge commitment on the part of the farm. But that's been actually really popular. You could have a downloadable guide, such as PDF on 10 things to know before your first riding lesson. That's something that you can, put on your website. You can put it out through social media, all that kind of thing. Obviously, educational content. Hopefully everybody's doing this, although I know many horse farms are not doing this, but they really should be. This should be like table stakes. Educational content, videos, listicles, infographics on social media, educational blog posts for their website. It's really still crucial to have a blog on your website. That's still very helpful for search engine optimization, to get Google to serve you up if people are searching for the type of thing that you offer. So like riding lessons in, whatever town. And also you can actually use your blog post to make other content. So it's, everybody should have a blog. A lot of people think blogs are old school, but honestly, they're still quite applicable. Email mini courses. These are fabulous, pretty easy to set up. And you'd send out like a email every day for a series of 7 days or 10 days or 20 days we've done. And, have these be these educational emails teaching people about something. In this case, would be like horseback riding basics. But this is not a series of emails where you're trying to sell people. This is not that. Do not make these sales pitches. Make this educational. Live Q&A or webinar. People love that. Sometimes it can be difficult to get people to come to webinars, but if you end up having enough people on your mailing list, which is probably something that I should talk about on another Monday segment, building a great mailing list. But once you get big enough numbers, that can be very effective as well. And it's nice because it lets people talk, live and have their questions answered and that kind of thing. And that actually can be really good for research. If you want to know what people are thinking, what questions they have, what problems they have, if you're absolutely able to interact with them live one-on-one, that can give you a lot of answers so that you can help solve those problems, because that's what we're all in business to do, really, is to help people solve their problems. But a lot of times businesses lack because they don't understand the problems that their customers really have. So that can be actually a great research tool as well for you. So that was the first thing. That was the free thing. And now products for prospects. So this is the lower priced item, sort of an introductory item, and introductory riding lessons are great. We do those. Usually they're discounted, 20% off or whatever the regular cost. Pony ride experience. If you focus on, kids, I used to actually do this. Oh my gosh. I did this right in 2009, right as soon as the economy tanked like crazy. And I remember I actually opened up our farm, reopened it at that point, and I was doing like 10-minute pony rides for people. And it was exactly this. It was, I can't remember what I charged, but it was $30 or something for the pony ride. And I just remember thinking, man, if I wanted to run a lesson program, I just had people asking to take lessons. Like I wasn't selling anybody on anything. They literally would ask. They'd come for the pony ride. It was a nice, affordable pony ride. And then I'd start talking to them, and then they'd just be asking about, oh, do you teach lessons? Da, 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 da. And I was like, wow, that's the easiest way to sell lessons in the world. Horse care workshop. So we've actually had, clients do this, like a 2-hour class about grooming, tacking up, wrapping legs. I remember that was what one of the people did, horse handling, all those things. And they actually, this is a farm out near Sacramento. They included with that sort of like a nice, I think she was having like wine and cheese. And so it wasn't just like come here in the barn and sort of sit on hay bales. And, it was upgraded a little bit. And that went over very well with her people. And I think she charged like $49 for that, and she had like 5 or 6 people there. So it wasn't huge. It was our first one. It wasn't huge, but, $300 or so that she made for that for a couple hours. So that's not bad. And all potential customers, this lady sells horses. So like that was, it was a very smart move because it got the right kind of people in the door for her and let them start to build some trust with her and understand that she knows what she's talking about. You could have a sort of taster membership, which would be like a 1-month prepaid lesson membership. So somebody's like, okay, maybe they took an intro lesson and they're like, I liked it. Now I'm not quite ready to do a subscription. I'm not ready to go to that, but let me, do 1 month prepaid. They get a little discount for prepaying, and, let them sort of take the next step, right? It's like dating somebody, right? You kind of go one step to the next step to the next step. So that would be another step they could take. Something that has worked, I know I keep talking about this, but it's because it's worked so well. Ice cream social. You don't even, like, when we did it, we actually had it catered. You don't have to have it catered. You can literally get a freezer from wherever you can buy freezers from, Costco or whatever. They're not terribly expensive. You can get some ice cream from Costco or Sam's Club or whatever, put it in there. That can be the ice cream. This is not about giving somebody a big fancy ice cream. I mean, if you have the money and you want to do fancy, that's great. But if you don't, and you just want to get some Costco ice cream, shove it in the freezer and let people help themselves, you could totally do that. And give mini riding lessons, so like 10-minute riding lessons, and have some crafts, some horse crafts that kids and adults, gotta remember, adults love crafts too. That's why there's big stores like Michael's and, it's a Hobby Lobby and stuff, right? So it's not just crafts for kids, adults love crafts too. You'd have to have somebody man the craft tables, but if that's your little program, they're not going to get that anywhere else. You'll be the only game in town offering an ice cream social with horse crafts. And that kind of thing I would do like every fourth Friday of the month at 6 o'clock or something, whatever, right? In the summertime, something like that. Because what you'll probably find if you do a good job is you'll find that you get, 10 people to the first one, and then they tell their friends and they come back at the next one with their, if they all bring a friend, also you get 20, you got 30 people. Before you know it, you're literally going to have like probably more people. Then you'll really have to like start slowing them down and limiting the number of people you can have there. Because as long as you do a good job executing on that, that's a at least to me, it's always been a huge winner for me, and it's not difficult to do. And it's not expensive to do either, which is nice. So, and you can charge money for that, right? This is products. This is not free stuff. So that would be ice cream social, $29 or $29 for the adult and $9 for the kids or whatever, come up with something that's reasonable. But that's a popular thing. The core offer for riding lesson program, obviously individual riding lessons. Now we have clients that do riding lessons. Subscriptions is what, like, we really love subscriptions. So if you can get people to sign up for subscriptions, that's totally the way to go. However, not every farm can do that. Not every person wants a subscription or can really have a subscription, because there's some people that are like traveling nurses, right? And they're not going to be there every week, every month, different people, like traveling business people, right? Teachers that travel. So what we like to do is have farms offer individual lessons. Now, those are more expensive than something like a subscription or riding lesson package. But for certain people, individual lessons is what works in their life. And rather than saying, well, forget it, we're not going to have you here, let's let them buy an individual lesson on a more expensive basis than, something with longer commitment. So you can also do riding lesson packages, which would be like a prepaid block of lessons. So somebody wants to prepay for 4 or 8 or whatever lessons, they get, it's a bigger commitment, so they pay a lower price. And again, that can often work well for somebody that is happy to make the commitment, but again, they have like a weird, crazy schedule, so they can't be there every single Thursday at 8 o'clock for a, subscription lesson. So, that gives them more flexibility to schedule their lessons at a time that works for them. And if you can get the majority of your people into subscriptions, usually that works well for most farms. And that's really nice because it allows you to have pretty regular income that you can kind of count on. And you can also you can know when people are going to come, because they'll have the same time and day every week for their lessons. So that's a really nice way to do lessons. And they auto renew. So it's always easier to have a customer that's on an auto renew program than somebody that has to pull out their checkbook every time and pay. That's harder to get people to do that. So you want to go with subscriptions whenever you can, but if you can't, for whatever reason, I think that offering individual lessons or packages is a smart idea. Well, just make those more expensive. And then you'll tend to find some portion of people are going to come and they're going to love the lessons. And then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, now I want to have my own horse. And some of them will just go buy a horse. Definitely had that happen. And that's fine. Well, as long as they buy the right horse, it's fine. But a lot of them will want to lease a horse, which is also another nice step. So that's, that could be a nice option for them to lease a horse. And typically we like on-farm leases because if you send them away, you don't know how they're going to be treated or handled or worked with. So some people do. And if they're going to a good farm that that's fine. But, just gotta be careful with sending the horse away in the chance that somebody doesn't do the right thing with it. But on-farm leases can be great. And, you can give them a set number of lessons, and depending on how good of a rider are, you maybe could ride it also a certain number of times during the week on their own. If it's a brand new beginner, they should not be doing it on their own. But if they know what they're doing, then that could work well. So that would be good core offers for a riding lesson program. And then the P for C, so the product for clients for riding lesson programs. So this is sort of your upsells and your sort of add-ons would be, again, we talked about the show team training, retreats and luxury riding experiences. So this is kind of cool. And I've been getting more and more into Airbnb property management recently. And you could work okay, so not everybody is running Airbnbs all over the place, but you don't have to be. See, this is the cool thing. We actually have a farm in Pennsylvania that's doing this. Works with the Airbnbs in the area, and that's where the people come and stay. And, so if you have clients, especially for larger farms with clients from far away, different areas, or clients that have family that are coming in and they want to do something in the area with horses. So we've seen it work both ways. There's also other ways, but I won't get into all that right now. Anyhow, work with Airbnbs in the area if you don't have accommodations, and offer a really awesome weekend retreat with personalized coaches and gourmet meals and the beautiful accommodations. Those can be fabulous, and you can sell those for very nice amounts of money. Like literally Airbnb has section. If you go on the Airbnb website, there's literally experiences, and they push this kind of thing, and they do that for a reason. It's not just for horses, it's for all kinds of things, but this is very popular. So think about that. If you offer, well, anything, any kind of horse stuff, because people love horses. So there's a huge opportunity there for farms that want to do that. We've also seen farms do very well having a tack store. Now, it doesn't have to be a gigantic tack store, but even just offering basic products like breeches and boots and helmets and, all the basic stuff that riders need, especially if as they come in and they start riding and they need to buy all that stuff. They're going to buy it from somewhere, and they might as well buy it from you. And it's not hard to have a little store. And we've seen farms do fantastic with this. So, and you can buy, it's very easy these days to locate products that are at wholesale prices and have them shipped in. And you don't have to, it doesn't cost you a whole ton of money. I used to do retail, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have $50,000 to put into ordering inventory. And it's not that at all. Some places don't even require any minimums order quantities, and some, are like $100 or $200. So it's typically, these days, it's very affordable to start a small retail operation. So that's for riding lesson programs. Now for sale barns, I'll try to go faster because I know it's really taking a long time. I always try to make these really short and then they end up being too long. But anyhow, sale barns, fast. Buyer guide. So like a PDF that somebody could download, how to choose the right horse for your type of riding goals, which a lot of people don't know, right? Like those of us who've been doing it for a long time, we know, but a lot of people, that's a mystery right there that they need help solving. Email mini course, the horse buying process, what to expect, how to find the right horse. Oh my gosh, so many questions. They will look to you for answers. Horse match quiz, a fun online quiz to help buyers determine their ideal horse type. People love online quizzes, so they will love that. And that's not hard to set up. Those are very easy and fast to set up, something like that. Virtual barn tour. Again, get that video camera out there. It's not difficult. Video the farm, the horses being worked, get some interviews with clients. That's very powerful. Social media content and blog posts. I mentioned it before for the lessons. Same thing here. If you're not doing it, you need to be. And again, this is not sell, sell, sell. This is not buy my horse, buy my horse. This is like 9 out of every 10 posts should be something helpful, something educational, something inspirational. It's about giving. This is not about like asking. It's about giving. And then maybe 1 out of every 10 posts you could put up like, okay, this horse is for sale or something like that. Live Q&A webinars, again, wonderful way for people to interact with you and also great way for you to do research. But again, with webinars, a lot of times you have to really build up a pretty big mailing list. So it takes some time to do that, but still can be very, very powerful. And you can take your webinar content if you record it, which everybody records everything these days, and you should too. And then you can post it on YouTube, you can post it on social media. So you can also turn your webinar into content that you're going to post, and it's educational. And so great, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Product for prospects for Sale Barn would be things like horse evaluation, consultation. So this would be something paid. I've seen people do this. This was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. There's one client I had here in Ocala that was getting paid, I think like $150 an hour to be on a Zoom call with clients and consult with them on what the clients wanted in a horse. And then she would sort of look at different horses that they were considering and talk to them about it and whatnot. And like, that was the best. She's like, oh my gosh, this is the easiest way to make money ever, which it's not really. She took her, 40 years to be smart enough and know enough about horses to give good consulting, but it was pretty easy to sit in a chair and just look at videos with clients, and they paid her well, and they paid her up front. I mean, it was great. Pre-purchase educational clinics. So a little group workshop, maybe charge $49 or $79 or whatever on how to evaluate a horse's conformation, movement, suitability, right? Things that a lot of us take for granted if we've been doing this for, a million years. But for people that are newer, you're helping them so much to help give them this information. And by doing it in person, it's great to look at books and videos and whatever about how to evaluate conformation. And there's a lot of content out there on that. But to be able to have someone stand there and look at a horse in person, or you pull out a couple different horses and, oh, look at this one, how the neck's set on, and, the legs, and, oh, this one's a little bit pigeon-toed, or, whatever, right? That's better done in person, and people will pay for that. Basic lease option. So a short-term lease on a horse, and a sale horse before committing. I think a lot of us have done that, with sale horses. And again, like on farm lease, that one, if I had a sale horse, I probably wouldn't let it go out to another person's barn. Personally, I would tend to keep that horse in my own barn so I can really keep an eye on what's happening with it. That's up to everybody, but that's what I would do. But, but having a horse on a short-term lease for a month, 2 months, whatever, so somebody can really try it out is totally reasonable. And again, people need to pay for that, right? That's not a free service. They have to pay. A smaller thing, sip and ride events. If I could just go to every single horse farm in person and tell them to run sip and ride events, I would. I'm going to try it. I'm like on a mission to have everybody do this, only because it is so massively successful and incredibly easy to sell tickets to sip and rides. We do it all the time. It's what we call a winning product. If you're not doing sip and rides, you should be, period, end of story, unless you really don't like wine and have something against alcohol, which if you do, that's fine. That's understandable. But if you don't, then you need to do these events, because they will literally, you're basically getting free. Not only are you getting free marketing, you're actually getting paid to market to people. People will pay you to come to these events. You will make a profit off the event. So you have you're all the money you spend on advertising and everything is paid for, plus you have money left over for yourself. Plus, if you do it right, you will get long-term clients out of these events. People that will take lessons, that will lease and buy horses. So you can scale that indefinitely because you have your advertising cost is zero. In fact, it's less than zero. You're making a profit. That's the golden ticket. That is what every business would love. And sip and ride events will give you that. Again, if they're, it's all about execution if you do it right. But we do enough of those around the country that I can just say, those are just, that's a winner and everybody should be doing those. Core offer for sale barns, obviously, horse for purchase, horse for lease. You can do fractional purchases. That's typically for competition horses that, have higher value and, you'll get several people to go in on it, sort of like a syndicate or a partnership or whatever, different ways to do that. And fractional lease. So you can also, and a lot of farms have done this in the past, where you've got 2 or 3 people or whatever lease a single horse, and then they share the time with it and they share the expenses. So those are sort of core offers for sale barns. And then the P2C for sale barn product for clients for sale barn would be things like opportunity to be included at box seats or ringside at major competitions, right? Because everybody wants to be hanging out with all the cool kids. And if that's what you have, then people would love the opportunity to be able to participate in that. And they will pay for it, right? This is not free. They'll pay for it, for the opportunity to be in with a crowd and to go to a horse show or a competition or event or whatever, and to be part of a group that's already there is, so much better than you could go there and just sit there in your stands yourself. But like, who wants to do that? Nobody. Monthly educational Zoom calls with owners of horses that are similar discipline, right? So if you've got expertise and you have information to share and it's good enough, people will pay for not only the opportunity to have the education and to be able to, again, talk to you one-on-one about, okay, I bought my horse from you 6 months ago and now I'm having a problem getting it to go in the left lead. What should I do about that? So that opportunity, but also the social opportunity, right? If you have enough clients that have purchased horses, then that gives them the chance to meet and bond and have this social group. And humans are some of the most social animals on the planet. So anytime you can give people the chance to have wonderful social opportunities, they will typically really jump at the chance and they will literally pay for that opportunity. And you could always start that out, at a lower price. And then as you get more people and you get better at it, you can increase that price as you go forward. You can have exclusive buyer only clinics with hard to get trainers or breeders, right? And you want to make that exclusive, that, you want this to be something that very special. And it's, obviously if it's a hard to get trainer, it's, it's going to be some amount of an investment, but if it's somebody really good, people will certainly will pay to come and be part of that. And so that I would keep very exclusive. Opportunity to purchase logoed farm or stallion jackets, caps, etc. Right? Again, people love to be part of a group, and if they can be part of your farm group and have the whole social aspect, just because you sold them the horse doesn't mean that you don't want them still. You want them to be part of your group. They will probably buy another horse because let's face it, once we all buy one horse, generally we can't stop for our whole lives. So don't stop marketing to somebody just because you sold them a horse. Hopefully you sold them a horse that's good for them and they will stay there, and you're going to keep developing that relationship, and this is a great way to do it. Opportunity to advertise with other buyers or with a farm. So you'll see a lot of farms, at least in the Arabian industry, this is true. This is very true. I don't know about other breeds or disciplines as much, but certainly for Arabians, you'll find a lot of farms will take out, like they'll get all of their clients to take out a page in a publication, and they'll have 20 or 30 pages of all their clients' ads, one after the other, and it's all branded with a farm's name and colors and everything. And, you know, that's a great way to really make a big splash without having a huge expense on your part, because all your clients, they're buying their own pages in the magazine. Or you can do the same thing. I've done the same thing with emails, where you purchase, you know, an email blast, but you get, you know, 5 or 6 or whatever clients to go in on it. And so it makes it more affordable for them to do the ad, because they're not paying for it themselves. You know, one person, you're splitting it 5 ways or whatever. And it's very effective if they have a horse that they want to sell, or they have a stallion at stud, or whatever it is, right? Any reason, or they're going to a horse show and they're, you know, advertising before the show. So anyhow, again, the opportunity to be part of a group and, you know, to have purchased a horse and then to still be part of the group. And as I think back over the many horses we've purchased over the years, I don't think of one farm that's ever continually really actively marketed to us after we purchased their horses, which is just a massive, I think an error on their part. You know, they maybe kind of would see us at shows and talk to us, but to have an actual systematic marketing program to people that have already bought your horses, I don't know of any. There probably are some, but I just can't think of any off the top of my head. So that's something that anybody selling horses should be doing, because as long as you're selling horses that people like and you're selling them the right horse, they should be happy with it and they should want to come back to you. And you don't want to leave that to chance. You want to be active and proactive about that. So, so that is my presentation for those 2 groups. And I know that, you know, we can, if we have other questions about other types of sales, we can certainly brainstorm those, because they're any kind of business. This type of system works for any kind of business at all. Not just lesson and programs and sale horses, but those were just 2 that I want to sort of throw out some examples for. So any questions, ideas, comments, arguments for or against?